Hi stamping friends, Melissa Kerman here with Melissa's Crafting Treehouse. Welcome. Today I'll be sharing a Stamp Club project featuring the Country Home stamp set. And here is the project we'll be making today. And you can get free kits in the mail to make today's project and 2 other projects through my online Stamp Club and free card kits program. You'll find information, more details on the tutorials and classes page on my website, or you'll find direct links in the video description below. For this project, I've used 3 types of coloring tools: watercolor pencils, a blender pen, and blends alcohol markers. Depending on how you do your coloring, your focal piece can turn out quite different. In this video, I'll be explaining how I achieved these 2 different looks, and here you can see them now side by side. I'll be using 2 stamps to create the one full image here, and my Memento black ink. And mainly I'm using that because I'll be using the alcohol markers, and you really need to use the Memento black for that. And I'm going to start by stamping my first image towards the bottom. It's actually something between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch from the bottom, pretty close to the bottom, and then of course centered side to side. Now I'm pushing aside my focal piece so I can practice on my scratch paper, and you're actually going to overlap slightly that top image over the bottom image so that you don't end up having space or sort of airspace between the 2 images. And I always encourage using your scrap paper to practice. And I'm not sure if you can tell by looking at what I've done, but there are 2 things I did. It's still slightly up from the bottom image, so I've taken my black, regular old black Stampin' Right marker, and I'm just going to kind of fill in the lines where I was missing. The second thing that happened here is that my Memento ink was not really very juicy, so the image towards the center is a little bit sort of faded and not a real solid image. So I'm going ahead and inking up my Memento ink, and I'm going to stamp it again. So with my newly stamped image, I'm going to start my coloring, and I'm going to use my Soft Suede Blends alcohol marker, and I'm using the paintbrush, or the larger side of the Blends alcohol marker, to color in the whole watering can, or whatever you want to call it. And so I just filled the whole thing in, and now I'm going in with my dark Soft Suede Blends marker, and I'm coming in with the smaller, sort of harder, nibby sort of end, and I'm going to highlight just around the edges to give it some darker elements and shading. And I'm using the clues that are on the image itself, the little black splotches, to sort of guide me in where I put those darker elements. And now I'm going to come in and just refine a little bit with my light soft suede marker, and I am using the larger paintbrush type tip, and essentially I'm going over the areas where the dark and the light meet. And when I add more of the light, it sort of gives you a medium shade of the color itself, which gives you the shading. So now I have my color lifter, and I'm just going over very delicately a couple of spots. And what the color lifter does is it essentially lifts up some color, and it really creates some texture as well to the inside of your can. And I did not use the color lifter on the watering can or flower bucket or whatever on the first version that I did. So this is one of the main things that I did differently to make the watering can look different. So the version on the left is my original version, my original card, and the one on the right is the one I'm working on and showing you today. So there's one other element on this focal piece that's slightly different, and that is how I did that orange-ish kind of flower on the right side. So now what I'm going to do is take you through how I colored each element, and each was done in its own kind of unique way. So I'm starting with my Daffodil Delight watercolor pencil, and you have to press really hard to get nice rich yellow color. The next thing I'm going to do is focus on that small little flower in the middle, and I'm going to be using my Blackberry Bliss Blends alcohol markers. I am using the smaller hard nibby end. This gives you much more control when working with small images. So next I'm coming with the dark Blends Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just putting a little bit of the dark color towards the center of that little flower. So next I'm coming in with my Granny Apple Green Blends alcohol marker, And I'm starting with the light, going over all of that foliage with my light color. And then I'm going to come back in with my darker alcohol marker, just doing a little bit of shading in select spots. And what I found was that when I had just done the light, it was the foliage was kind of dull. But as soon as I came in with a little bit of the dark, it brightened up the leaves quite a bit, which sort of surprised me, and really liked the outcome. So now I'm going to work on the second element that's different between these two versions. The one on the left only uses the Cajun Craze Blends alcohol markers, and I did the light color over the whole area and then went over the center with the dark alcohol marker. Now the way I did my second one was a little bit different because I wanted it to have a little bit more brightness to it. So I started with my orange, I think it's pumpkin pie, yes, pumpkin pie watercolor pencil, and I went over it very lightly. I didn't press hard, so I just put a little bit of a layer of the orange. And then I came in with my blender pen, which is different from the Blends alcohol marker. It's a blender pen. It has glycerin in it to help it spread the ink. So went over the whole surface with that. And then I came in and with my light Cajun Craze Blends alcohol marker to add some of the Cajun Craze color, because there is Cajun Craze cardstock on this card, but not pumpkin pie. So I felt like I needed to soften the orange just a little bit so that it would blend with the card, but also that pumpkin pie allowed it to be a brighter final result. So now I'm going over it with a little bit of the dark Cajun Craze on the small little spots on that flower, again just to kind of connect it to the Cajun Craze cardstock. And now I'm coming in with my color lifter to just blend the color a little bit on those on the flower that I just colored. So the last thing I need to work on this focal piece is finishing up my cotton elements, and I'm using my white watercolor pencil, and I am pressing really hard to try to get some nice deep dark white on all of those little pieces of cotton. And after I do all that coloring, I'm going to come back in with my soft suede Blends alcohol marker, and I'm going to start, and of course I'm going to use the small sort of nibby end because these are small images. And I'm going to add some of the soft suede color to the bottoms of each of the cotton pieces. And I guess I just realized I hadn't done all of the Daffodil Delight little spots, so just went back in and finished that. So before I do my soft suede final touches, I'm coming in with my blender pen to soften the lines on the white cotton. I used my blender pen to do that. And that just makes it look smooth, which is really pretty. And now I'm going to come in with the soft suede, and again starting at the very bottom, adding a little bit of dark. I've actually done it on one of the images already. And next I'm going to come in with the light soft suede Blends alcohol marker to soften the hard line of the dark color and help blend it a little bit with the white. And I think this just really gives it a more natural look. And you have a little bit of contrast between the white cotton without it being too high contrast of the black image itself. So all I have left to do is assemble my card, and incidentally I have dry embossed the piece that I'm holding in my hand right now with the new tin tile embossing folder. I absolutely love this embossing folder, and I have obviously done that off camera. So I'm just attaching my backing piece using dimensionals, and now I'm just going to do my additional layering and put together my card. So while I finish assembling my card, I'd just like to let you know that to get free card kits in the mail, all you need to do is place a qualifying Stampin' Up! Order, and again those details are included in the description below this video with links to my website. And when you get this particular kit, the dry emboss piece will be done for you, and I do all the die cutting and punching and dry embossing of pieces for all of my kits. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great day and happy crafting!